Yo, what's up players? DJ95 here, and today we're going to be discussing about a PlayStation exclusive title. Now I get that a lot of people haven't heard about this game, but there are many reasons as to why I like Gravity Rush so much. So, for today's topic, I'm going to be discussing about why I like Gravity Rush so much, why it interested me, and why it got to be on my wishlist for PS4 game. So you're thinking, who is this girl, DJ95? This is a girl named Kat, a girl who comes from a kingdom named Etu, after being mysteriously sent to a city called Hexaville. This event only takes place 100 years. After landing in Hexaville, she loses her memories. But she's not alone because she's got this pet cat named Dusty, a type of guardian that supplies her with the powers to manipulate gravity, easily allowing her to carry objects without even having to carry them physically. She only discovers this now after being tossed all around and suddenly landing upon a wall, which is pretty unique, especially for a character like Kat. With this type of power, Kat can be able to float, even fall in the desired direction, and stand upon walls while she's using her gravity powers. After discovering this type of power, Kat then decides to use the power for good, mostly for saving lives and fighting evil, such as in this case when she saves a boy from being pulled into a gravity storm, which then destroys the house. Although she actually saved the boy and father's life, she didn't get to easily appreciate it that much. I mean, trust me, they were seriously ungrateful after what happened to their house. And honestly, I feel sorry for Kat in a situation like this. This is because she is mostly known as a gravity shifter. And yes, it's a person who can shift gravity. Kat soon got this title after being able to use the power to manipulate gravity. But for most people, they believe gravity shifters are nothing but trouble, since they cause destruction so easily thanks to their gravity powers, since they can lift everything easily and throw things at them, even people. But what Kat didn't know was that deep down below was actually an ocean, which would soon reach the entire kingdom of Etu within a millennium. Crazy, right? But Kat isn't the only shifter. There's another shifter named Raven, another gravity shifter like her, with a guardian as a crow named Sea, which also supplies her with gravity powers, but much stronger compared to Kat's. But after Raven leaves, Kat fights crime and saves a police officer named Sid, who eventually becomes her friend, or is actually her friend after this encounter. Most of the time they are friends, but when it comes to doing stuff like saving the day, Sid is mostly the lazy kind of person who relies on Kat to do most of the work. I mean, seriously, you get a police officer who does nothing? I mean, come on. Sid, really act up, if you know what I mean. But crime isn't the only thing that Kat fights. She also fights monsters called Nevi, which exist in gravity storms, and attack the citizens for no apparent reason. Nobody knows why, so that's why I say for no apparent reason. But as Kat attempts to bring back the missing parts of the city, Raven comes in to stop her from doing so. This actually formed the first rivalry between Kat and Raven, which is kinda like Sonic and Shadow basically. It wasn't always like that, because sooner or later Kat and Raven start forming a friendship later on, even helping together on some occasions. During the final showdown, Kat works along with Raven and a soldier named Unica in order to save Hexaville from the destruction of the sea animal, defeating a person named Dinalika. Through this act of heroism, Kat finally got recognized as Hexaville's true defender, and known to most people as Hexaville's Gravity Queen, and therefore concluding the story of Gravity Rush 1. 4 years later, Sony moved on to making an animation for Gravity Rush. Supposedly, this is not a movie or an animated series, but rather a follow-up on the Gravity Rush game. The only way to watch this is to watch it on YouTube, since there's no other way to see this. Also, this came out just before Gravity Rush 2, which was the sequel of the game, which was released in 2017, early 2017. Early in this case, the dialogues become more frequent, much more than the games. And yes, they don't speak ordinary English, except they speak this kind of language.
Raven, tu m'as massé s'il vous plaît? Lina est là, coucou, Rashia. Oh, tu sais de la lima qu'on est Eva.
Okay, Raven, are you supposed to be so edgy like Shadow? The story in the second part of Gravity Rush Overture, which is the name of the animation for Gravity Rush, sees Cat and Raven take on two cyborgs, which eventually could cause a storm, sending both of them to different places. Eventually, this sets up a story for Gravity Rush 2, as we see Cat and Sid sent to a place called Bunga Settlement, which is a place for mostly slave workers and miners. From here on out, a new adventure begins in Gravity Rush 2. And on to Gravity Rush 2. The story starts off with two miners descending into the mines, searching for ore. All of a sudden, a Gravity Rush storm appears, blowing away the two miners and damaging their pressure seals. A few seconds later, the miners reveal themselves as Cat and Sid. Without Dusty on his side, Cat cannot be able to escape the gravity storm by any means, except by use of transport, which is the only way to escape a gravity storm.
There are also a majority of characters introduced in Gravity Rush 2, such as Lisa, a slave driver who puts Cat and Sid straight into work in the mines, just because she saw both of them as nothing but trouble as soon as they arrived. And there's also Lisa's daughter, named Sissy. Well, she's only an adaptive daughter of Lisa, who Lisa doesn't really want to lose. Mysteriously, Raven was brainwashed into becoming a super soldier for the military called Garrison, and she eventually became Nightgale. As a way of ending the battle, Cat manages to save Raven from being brainwashed, and Raven eventually snaps out of her senses and reverts back to her normal form. When Cat returned to Hexaville, things didn't go quite as well. Here, Cat faces a new threat named Kali Angel, who becomes one of the main antagonists in the game, and also a relative sister of Durga Angel, and daughter of Dr. Brahman, who's also one of the main antagonists in the game. There are some major differences between Gravity Rush 1 and Gravity Rush 2, because in Gravity Rush 2, the scenes become more violent than in the original, such as here when the fight becomes more grotesque and disgusting when Kali becomes mutated after swallowing Sissy or Durga Angel. There are actually many known reasons as to why the game was rated 12, mostly because of scenes like this. Thankfully enough, it is all over when Cat teams up with Raven again, and with Unica and a new soldier named Permanent. Eventually, Cat and Raven use their newfound powers to stop Kali Angel once and for all, therefore saving Sissy. This also momentarily restored peace to Hexaville once again, and also led to Dr. Brahman's defeat. I think that's it for the story. Now let's move on to the main reasons why I love the game. There are namely many reasons as to why I love Gravity Rush so much, mainly because of the gameplay, also its interesting take on story. Sometimes the controls can be a bit weird, but as soon as you use them more often and practice them, you become more used to them and quite masterful. When it comes to playing games like Gravity Rush, you mainly have to upgrade your skills so that you become more used to them as soon as you progress through the game. For a gamer like me, I expect there to be more than just the story missions, so Gravity Rush fits that ideal with some side missions, and also a variety of challenges, which are optional. And yes, it's only nearly 10 years since Gravity Rush came into existence. For 2012, the game was introduced on the PS Vita, but since 2015, Gravity Rush Remastered for the PS4 was released and added some more missions, well, DLC missions. For me, I'm mostly a mobile user, but I also play on my PlayStation 4 sometimes. Gravity Rush is one of those games that really goes into my wishlist, because of those main ideas. Both games, what I really love about them is the ability to roam freely. That's one thing I like about most games. Sometimes I get a bit bored if I just don't get to explore things. So if a game is not open world, then what's the point of enjoying it anyway? What I love about both games is its core mechanic, the ability to shift gravity. It hasn't changed, but still it's something quite useful, since you can use it to fight your enemies, even travel places. Also beats having to walk around every place, huh? In my personal opinion, I think Gravity Rush 2 is much better than the original, mostly because of more characters, also a much larger map. The game even expanded on introducing new powers, such as this one, Lunar Style, a type of gravity style that Cat can shift to as a more lightweight technique. With this type of power, Cat can be able to jump higher, even float on items such as bubbles without popping them, and Jupiter Style, a new type of power that Cat uses, which makes her feel heavy. Sure, the disadvantage of Cat using Jupiter Style is the ability to move slower, but it does provide her with such heavier attacks which do extra damage. Sure, using the power of gravity can take a lot of time to master, but if you use it more often and practice with it, you'll get better in no time. Both games also allow you to change costumes. In Gravity Rush 2, they expanded it a bit more by introducing the camera mode, in which you can take selfies, like this one. And another thing that I like about Gravity Rush 2, emotes. It expanded a bit when Gravity Rush 1, originally for the PS Vita and PS4, originally included the animation of Cat jolting back, as if someone is behind her. But here, Cat has some emotes, such as this one. Some emotes require you to complete certain missions, others they were online, or via treasure chests. But since Sony has shut down the servers, it can no longer do online missions. I really wish that Sony would make those servers online again so that you can complete those missions again, even get some of the costumes that were available. So that's all you need to know about why I love Gravity Rush so much. So for more content, be sure to subscribe to DJay95, follow me on Twitter, join my Discord server, and also all my videos leave a like. So for next time everyone, see ya, DJay out.